The World of Warcraft Warrior is a powerhouse of spins and axes waiting for a player to pick their nose and press 4 buttons. As such, they're easy to pick up in the retail version of the game and provide a simple rotation for players wanting to tickle their need for domestic violence. However, take away the weapons and your character is just as useful as that one dude at the bar who's had one too many drinks and thinks the best solution to his problems is to drive his car straight into a wall. Can you level in World of Warcraft using only items you pick up? The rules of this challenge are simple. I can only use the most recent items I pick up off mobs. Quest items, items from chest, and player versus player chests are unavailable to me. And, for the sake of not making this the easiest challenge ever, I took it upon myself to not do any dungeons, arenas, or battlegrounds. Just a quest in the game and my masochistic need to become popular. I started the challenge, as all World of Warcraft players do, creating a character that I'll be using to punch garden gnomes for the duration of my existence. That was a lie. I actually did some research in finding a server that was a 40-60 in population because I wanted to play Horde and have some friends. We settled on Dalaran and I started the challenge for real this time as an undead warrior. Why? Who cares? You're the one who's dying to know, I'm just making a dead video. I revved up the antics on the name and started my journey. Now, when I say only items I picked up, that means the beginning clothes have got to come off. Luckily, I lied to you again and got a tabard mailed on Amishan Express, where the totem stands in place of a mailbox and looks at your groin while you slip into a birthday suit. But he's an undead, so don't get any ideas, you sick fucks. However, in a twist to no one at this point, I lied to you once again. I can't get a tabard because I don't have a character on this realm to give him one. So, for the duration of his inability to find pants on a wolf, you'll just have to hope that the macro rot took away his macro dong. I decided to start this run by betraying Sylvanas and becoming one with the insane zombies. Then, I decided to make the ultimate sacrifice and quit playing for a whole week, because the first thing you do when you resubscribe is to not partake in your gambling habits. Once I returned, I recruited Donald as my noble steed, picked up a pair of pants to appease the YouTube gods from striking me down with a copyright lightning bolt, though it may be too late for that one. Figured out my screen likes to play glitch tag when I hover over the latency button, and beat Karstag the way Skyrim was meant to be played. That joke was originally for a human version of this run, but I didn't feel like redeeming my pathing in comedy. I went to Scarletfish Fields, where I acquired a couple of belts to hoist my pants, and found a more important item in a wooden stick. Understand that this is a huge moment in this challenge, as, up until this point, I was worried I'd be smacking things with my big meaty hands. And while that may have been hilarious to see on your end, on my end, it means I would have been waiting on a reliable way to deal damage. With a weapon now in hand, I can use the actual abilities the way Pee Wee Herman intended the game to be played. Some of you are probably not even old enough to get that joke. Kilkaneza and Pee Wee Herman are very similar. The only difference is the WoW character uses a wooden colored weapon, whereas Herman uses a flesh colored one. Kilkaneza also likes to save damsels in distress, just as much as he likes to beat up bats for their cloaks and tiny hatchets. Now Herman and Killick are really alike. He also got a pair of pants because this game is really amping up the amount of equipment for one character. After stealing a shirt from a gnoll who probably took it from one of the graves he was robbing, I had successfully gained full YouTube friendly status and now had to make the sudden decline into a kids friendly channel. This does mean that Pee Wee and Herman will not be making another appearance again. Sorry for all of you who were disappointed. I decided for this run to go Fury because I like having two-handed weapons instead of one. However, I have to wait until level 14 before I can wield two weapons because for some reason he who shall not be named didn't have two flesh weapons to use. I later reenacted a scene from Knights of the Old Republic, found a lovely ghost woman and reenacted Blizzard's terms of roleplay. It got me a cloak with 3 strength, became one with the Agavan family when I took their gloves, lost my membership card because a bear had a half-eaten pair of gloves I wanted to try on instead, became a priest after picking up a staff but didn't know how to use smite so I smacked people with it instead, further became a disciple after receiving a sash that better hoisted my massive pants up, and wrapped up the rest of the Tirisfal Glades storyline. As things stand right now, we're pretty much tickling the surface level of difficulty, yet the beginning plot lines are meant for people to do with a blindfold, smacking their massive cup on a keyboard. Going forward, I expect this to become much more difficult. I decided that priesthood was boring and became one with the druids, then I ran into a slight dilemma immediately afterwards when I picked up a shield. You see, picking up a shield at this point without any other weapon to place in my hand is basically like being unarmed with extra armor. It means I've gone backwards now in doing damage, although the good news is I can still use Shield Slam, so for now, I'm not completely stuck. And thankfully, I found a rare shortly afterwards and got both an axe and a belt, but this sort of issue may arise later in the future, and I don't know if I'll be so lucky next time. And by next time, I mean immediately 2 minutes from now when my character ends up picking up a gun. Remember that unarmed issue I mentioned literally 30 seconds ago? Well, the problem becomes extremely exasperated in this situation. Guns are usable by warriors, and so technically it means I have to use it. The problem is that by doing so, it is basically like going back to fisticuffs at the beginning of the game. And, unlike having a shield, Shield Slam is not usable with guns. Who knows why? I guess he just can't figure out how to smack a wolf with a pointy end. It's slow, it's tedious, and it reduces my killing time because I can only hit things with my hands, but for now, it's still doable, albeit with very limiting results. Just watch how long it takes for me to kill this one bear. Now multiply that by 200 million creatures, and you've got yourself a stew on how to play classic WoW in retail. Thankfully, the last thing I killed drops a mallet, so we don't have to deal with this problem for very long, but I am truly scared on what will happen at higher levels. By the way, for those of you who are tallying, that's currently 6 items I've picked up in this one level. This goes to show how volatile things will get from here. I hit level 14 and decided to set a rule that any previous weapon I have will be the offhand. The problem is, the last weapon I had was a gun, so for now, we'll just be using the mace. I watched a sea pup learn what a hernia is, invested in sudden death because freely executing someone with a bow may come in handy, and gathered a sword from the mandibles of an 8-legged creature looking to use it for their sick, twisted pleasure. You may know about the one-handed or two-handed fury warrior, but may I present the cross hybrid, beautifully crafted from the masochistic mind of this challenge. I became a nomad that massacred an entire group of creatures shortly afterwards. The belt made me do it. It was whispering sweet nothings into my ear. I later acquired my first curved dagger and became the red guard I was meant to be, got rid of my commoner sword for a feeble one, learned the foresight of a seer through his cape that he gave to a mutant werewolf for intelligence reasons, slew Karstag a second time because Todd Metzen willed it so, and watched as Gilneas fell to Redanians because Nilfgaard doesn't know how to keep shit in line. I returned from the furry convention mostly unscathed, renamed my character to the Argonian title Rides Mounts Fast, then defied the laws of physics to make it to Orgrimmar. That earlier statement about going into a realm with a split population was for a reason. I wanted to actually turn on war mode in this run. For those of you unaware, war mode increases your experience gained by 10%, but the trade-off is you are now eligible to be assaulted by the opposite faction. I figure this trade-off will be good now, but will come back to bite me later. I will not be turning off war mode for the duration of this run, so do not worry, you'll likely watch me get ganked when I arrived in Shadowlands. I returned to Silverpine and died for the first time because magic is a bitch in this game, lost my Red Guard membership plus card in order to trade a curved dagger for the basic bitch mallet and a belt, watched time and space stop to present the most epic bracers you've ever seen, killed one of the last remaining blue dragons for a cloak, picked up a meat cleaver from a hard-working Dalaran citizen, realized that by doing so, my own rule stated I had to get rid of my offhand and go back to one-handing it while the other diddles the air, became a mage who knows no ability to wield magic, was told there was no such thing, so I put on some normal clothing and continued to painstakingly struggle through this 20-man fucking army, felt a wave of relief as I reinstated my membership to the Red Guards, and, just as a gamer's gift to me, was awarded an amazing new pair of bracers. I acquired a new stylish pair of pants, realized that Marshtomp is a powerful Pokemon in his element, buckled up a new belt because of that ass whooping, and finished off the evolved menace of the swamp. I picked up a mallet to punch the meat I've been cleaving, watched the Shadowlands expansion disappear for a brief second, and made my way to Hillsbrad Foothills to become a quest consultant. As it stands, only 2 deaths so far. I'm very surprised how things are going, and I hoped it will continue to go on with this much success, but I'll be honest, I'm not optimistic. I lived amongst the Murlocs. I hunted with them as they gave me a knife. I bathed with them in their sunsuits, and I slept with the fishies in their wet clothes. I also realized how easy this challenge would be if I stayed in groups. That was not an explicit rule set at the beginning, but it is one now, so do not worry, no more of those will be established. I made merriment with the locals at Stillwater Fields, realized someone fucked up when editing the Johnny Awesome joke, found a pair of shoulder pads swallowed up by the Great Mighty Pooh, practiced my game skills with a frame battle against a gnoll and got a hat for my troubles, learned the power of flight from the Orc Lady, died because scaling is bullshit for masochistic people, became the world's first two-handed prot warrior, realized why I'm the world's first two-handed prot warrior. Finally got some boots to cover my jagged toenails. That was of course a lie. I had to replace them with rags, so you can still get those OnlyFans pics. I tried to play Dark Souls again, and forgot I have never played Dark Souls, visited the moon people with feathers and found blessings in shoulders and cloaks, realized I could not finish the Hillsbrad questline without help, so I moved on to the Arathi Highlands, became Michael Vick and got a new padded helmet and girdle from the bedding farm, replaced my pants because they had dog juice on them, felt the blessing of the moon people fade at the sight of new shoulder pads, decided to get rid of perfectly good equipment for a sports coat, wanted another pair of pants because something about the farm didn't seem right, found a third pair of shoulder pads for one level because dress code in high school dictates no shoulders can be exposed, and encountered a couple of burly trailers looking for the nearest pub. That was all one level. It's only going to get worse from here. I ripped off a mage's dress from their belly, found a brace of stamina for my next conquest, lost it because I'm undead, and encountered a gigantic problem in the form of a shield. Since the other shield was my last picked up item, it means that by my rules I have to remove my mallet from my main hand. This once again puts me in an unarmed state, forcing my fists to do the heavy lifting. The problem is that at this point in the game, I can't actually kill anything using this method, so instead I came up with an idea. Pulling myself from the Cataclysm timeline will set mobs to level 30. Now I don't plan to continue the quest lines at this level, but rather I will use this to farm weapons from the rapid spawning Murlocs in Elwyn Forest. Hopefully the level difference will be enough to give me an edge in killing their scaly sins. I spent 6 minutes slaughtering the breeding population for a staff. Polly wanted a cracker, so I took his cloak instead, fastened my new bandana after such escapades, and swore never to commit atrocities again. I slept with more fishies and found an axe in the water. Godzilla the Raptor instructed me to kill his competition and awarded me a second axe for my troubles. He then gave me some new reptile gloves to join his cult. We reenacted the Dora the Explorer theme song when the girls yell, "Boots!" and found a new belt to match my striking physique. I overheard about a chess piece waiting for me near the fire people, went to the Renaissance Fair for a new mallet, and left the fair as one with the shoulders of shadows. I arrived in the hinterlands to troll the masses, slaughtered many mole people for their dirty shoulders, died to my Goothang because she wanted the kids and I wanted the dog, and found hope when I got more protection for the next domestic I would inevitably have. I prepared a sharpened hatchet for the events to come, helped a man in his offering for a blood sacrifice by cutting off his feet. Feet cutting is dirty work, so I got new gloves to get the stains off. The experience awakened something deep in my veins, and I needed a new pair of pants to hide my shame. I realized my gloves were improper for venom stealing, so I got new ones from the spiders and their fetish-loving hub material, and they were so turned on they gave me their cuffs as a token of their promiscuity. I toppled the Troll Towers and found a new cowl to cover my bowels, and then arrived in Anderhall to solve their three-way. I realized what happens when you don't play WoW for 10 months. Twice. Then, I found a farmer willing to share the BDSM equipment with me, got my big stick ready for slamming smacking, and hoisted a loincloth for the ladies to see that I'm a single Pringle. But then, as I was getting ready to establish my dominance, I ended up getting the one item I didn't want to see in the form of a useless insert light. Had to backtrack to fucking Murlocia to get a new weapon, almost tried to cheat in getting 2 weapons and ended up nearly having a heart attack, got a can opener to discover the Murloc's treachery and cannibalism, decided not to cheat, arrived back to the Plaguelands where the wolves greeted me with a v-neck, and then this happened. Yes! 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 Fuck yes! Fuck yes! We're back, baby! We're back! We're about to go swing and swing, swing, swing! Give me fucking Rampage. Give me fucking... Yeah, that's what you like to see from a Fury Warrior. Not that, like, swing around with a fucking... Oh! Ah! Ah! Oh, man. It's too beautiful to be true. Ah, rare! Alright. Things are going my way, boys! Get out of here! Jesus! He was looking out for me today. Guess what's gonna happen now? New bear cloak? Nope. Shoulder pad. Doesn't matter. That's still bad. It's good to be back. Later, I stylized my new loincloth, cosplayed as the Little Red Riding Hood, worried about my old legs catching a chill, found another fucking pair of pants because I had the same ones on not even 2 minutes ago, hiked up my cowboy boots, and got gloves in a knoll land where the gods needed a puntin'. Everything I just said in the past minute was one level. It was an emotional roller coaster that I could only describe as the feeling I get when going to a bar but not talking to anyone, and instead hoping my cool nature will just attract girls to me. I need to stop for a second. I got more dominance bracers from my furry fucked up friends, and stole a noble cloak from a noble man. I received spiky gloves from the shoulders long lost cousins from Alabama, stole a sword from a bouncer trying to keep me away from the blood party, arrived at Fiona's whim even though I didn't want to be shipped with a worgen, received a battered axe from an accident that should have been swallowed, got a pair of gloves to deal with the shitstorm in this questline, and then, as if the game knew I was doing well, it throws me a goddamn bow, so I had to stop and go back to Murlocia for a third fucking time of this challenge. This time, however, things are different. Unlike in the previous 2 runs of slaughtering the breeding population, things didn't just become tedious, but borderline impossible when returning to the main questline. The gear, combined with an awful weapon, began to take its toll, and I found myself dying twice to plague hounds on the side of the road. The thing is, the mobs are technically still killable, so the challenge is completable, but I had to change my entire strategy to make it viable, or we would have gone fucking nowhere. The script will not do justice on how fucking difficult this section becomes. Feel free to watch this level once it's released, probably never. I picked up a pair of boots from the bat's last flying kill, discovered why Joseph Redpath lost his blade to Generic Wolf 2000, and died in the crypt that should have been this challenge's idea. I became enlightened by the rule of the undead, let off a big wail when getting a claymore from their benevolence, got cocky and went after Generic Wolf 3 more times before giving up, met the worm people and discovered love in the form of a new stick, pulled a belt out of my fellow people's mouth hole, rolled up to the bar and got told my v-neck wasn't suitable for the party, and was given an honorary waistband as a token for partying hard with the Scarlets. I stole a partygoer's pair of pants as a practical joke, slept with a popular girl and took her blanket and ankle bracelet as mementos, got berated by her friends and had to get the bracelets back, found a knife that a drunkard was playing on the table with, finally killed the Generic Wolf in my drunken stupor, and wound up in some back alleyway where my conquest blanket became soiled. And then, as if my night of debauchery couldn't get any worse, level 48 through 49 corrupted. I'm not really sure why this happened. Everything was recording like usual, but when I clicked to stop it, it seems like it decided to shit itself. Even so, nothing else really happened of note, except for the fact that, you know, I became a one-handed junkie in 8 Mile because a fucking bow dropped earlier in the level, forcing me out of the timeline. Guess what, boys? We're in the mall now. I crawled through Bastion's memory hole and died gruesomely for it, took out a silverback turtle for the mace striking out of its shell, got ganked for the first time since arriving in Bastion, lost the dancing game to a machine, got double teamed when I least expected it, pondered throwing my keyboard into the ocean, finally found gear in the form of new shoulder pads, increasing my armor by a whole 8, got put into the Shadowlands dirt twice by their version of skeletons, and realized a 1v1 was a 3v1 against my favor. Just so you know, that's 7 deaths in 1 level. Yeah, I imagine it's only going to get worse from here. I found a bug in the system and took 2 broken people for therapy at once. I am not a therapist. I finally got a break by gaming a Forsworn into giving me her belt, booked another woman's notch into a new etch for more mastery, got gored by God's creation multiple times, and came back with a vengeance, ensuing their carcasses into chess pieces. I arrived in the City of Arms, felt what it's like to actually be geared, got my initiation staff for future ritualistic activities, baptized my boots in the name of the spies, the name of the chosen, and the name of the non-logical conclusions, and discovered the fungus among us in a meme that was dead long before this video came out. I made my way to the Fairy Odd Parents' wet dream, got invited to a masquerade that I did not want to participate in, realized that Inception was real in this realm, had to put on a fursuit to blend with the locals, realized it doesn't matter as the head honcho will assault you anyway, and took one more beating for the road. I then got invited to an orgy I did not want to participate in, put on some protective gear to ensure no icky diseases came my way, realized that hardly helps when the rot is too strong, found a scythe to reap the sinners, and rolled out of the party like a tumbleweed in the wind. I got ganked for the 2nd time after 58 levels, left the happy fun time world for some real vampire shit, found the bloodsucker to attach to my hip, and then tried to get into a mansion party I wasn't invited to. I scalped a scavenger for its fur, garnished a ritual blade to stab myself with after this challenge was over, picked up a pair of arm guards for the kids thinking that last joke was appropriate, and hit a hard wall that forced my strategies to change entirely. You see, up until this point, most mobs hadn't provided a completely impossible workaround, yet Marquis here made me have to think up different ways to challenge him. No joke, I almost thought the run was over here, having died 7 times to this boss fight and was forced to run away after several other attempts. The only real reason I finally got him down was because I went back to an inn and changed my talents to have impending victory, which gave me a guaranteed victory rush over 25-second time frames. This gave me just enough health to kill him, but the whole process took about 25 minutes to work around. Afterwards, I jumped into Hades' realm, wrapped up the only Torghast's character we'll ever see, got a crown fitting to finish this challenge with, netted the final set of good points to round out the completion of this challenge, and beat World of Warcraft using only armor and weapons I picked up off mobs. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you want to see similar content to this one. Leave a dislike if you hated every single moment of it. If the video gets 5 likes, I'll try to release another one of these types of challenges. I'll also post a pinned comment down below, and if that gets 5 likes, I'll release the levels of these challenges as I recorded them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.